What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a new tool that has basically changed the game when it comes to app development. We're talking Supabase. That is Supabase. Now if you struggle with backend infrastructure, Supabase might be your new best friend. So without further ado, I'm Nathan and let's dive on in. So what is Supabase? Well, Supabase is a backend as a service platform, which basically means it can help you create and manage the essential back-end tools in a program. So instead of focusing on the database, APIs, real-time updates, storage, things like that, you can focus on what makes your program unique. On top of that, it's totally open source. So you have a whole community of people who can contribute and to help you with questions you have, and it's fully transparent. Another platform that you might be familiar with is Firebase. So the obvious question is, what makes Supabase better than Firebase? Well, the most notable is its flexibility, specifically how and where applications run. Now with Firebase, you're basically locked into a single cloud provider. However, with Supabase, you have a lot more flexibility into choosing whose cloud provider you want to stick with. Now, let's check out some core features that make Supabase really incredible. First, let's talk about the database. So Supabase uses PostgreSQL as its default engine. Now if you don't know, PostgreSQL is a relational database that is known for its reliability and support for complex queries. With being a relational database, this means you can model your data using relationships, like triggers with joins, things like that, like a traditional database. So previously, if you've used SQLite, then it's going to feel incredibly intuitive to use PostgreSQL. However, if you previously used NoSQL, then there is going to be a slight learning curve, especially when trying to master a new engine like this. Next up is authentication authorization. Now, this could genuinely be one of the hardest hurdles to cross over, but Supabase makes this incredibly easy as well. It has support for multiple sign-in options like email and password, magic links, and including popular socials like Google, GitHub, and even Facebook. Also, if you want phone authentication as well, Supabase also integrates Twilio, MessageBird, and also Vonage. Now if we take a look under the hood, we'll see that Supabase uses JSON web tokens, which are basically these small secure tokens that contain user information. The way it works is that the server issues it after a successful login, and then after every subsequent secure request, the app sends it over. This system handles all the session management securely and efficiently, and the client's SDKs handle all the technical details, so you don't have to really worry about that. On top of that, all of the user data is stored on the PostgreSQL, so you can connect your own tables. But where Supabase really shines when it comes to authentication is its integration with PostgreSQL's row-level security, or RLS. Now normally in order to control what data users get to see, you would have to write a lot of backend code to basically restrict what certain users with certain ID types could see. However, with row-level security, all that logic shifts right into the database using SQL policies. This means the database itself enforces data visibility, which both simplifies the backend code and also makes auditing and maintaining a lot easier. One thing to note is that Supabase also charges for monthly active users. So if you're planning a very large scale project, this is something to consider in the planning and budgeting phase. Next, let's talk about real-time functionality. If you ever use messaging service apps like Discord or WhatsApp, you'll know that the messages come automatically. You never have to refresh the page to get a message. In the same way, Supabase uses PostgreSQL's logical decoding features in order to track when an update happens to a database and then automatically push it to the app. It also adds a feature to subscribe to a certain row or column in order to be notified when that specific data gets changed. Next, let's talk about storage. Now, Supabase has its own built-in solution for handling documents, videos, and images that is integrated within the authentication system. Basically, you can feed your files into buckets and then control the access and security based on user roles that you set up for your data. While having storage managed under the unified platform as your database does significantly help your development process, it's important to note this limits the flexibility of choice when it comes to the backend providers of storage specifically. Now speaking of saving time, let's talk about auto-generated APIs. So Supabase automatically generates the RESTful and the GraphQL APIs for your PostgreSQL database. So as soon as you generate tables, Supabase instantly exposes the endpoints using CRUD operations. This means you can interact with your database immediately without writing any backend code for these basic tasks. It really does all the heavy lifting so you can focus on your app's unique features. From a developer's perspective, Supabase makes things very straightforward. Their client libraries are available in JavaScript and TypeScript, making it really easy to jump in. And because it's open source, there's a growing community, which means that you have lots of tutorials, plugins, and support if you run into any challenges. Now, while Supabase is an incredible platform, it's important to be aware of its limitations. 1. It's still relatively new compared to giants like Firebase and AWS, so some advanced features might be less polished. You might encounter occasional bugs or documentation gaps. 2. Since it's built on PostgreSQL, it inherits the strength and constraints of a relational database. If you need highly flexible or hierarchical data models or extremely large-scale distribution systems, it might not be the absolute best fit. 3. While good, the real-time capabilities might not scale efficiently for apps with millions of simultaneous users. 4. As an open-source project, the hosted service relies on the company and the community's ongoing support. Self-hosting is an option, but that requires more infrastructure knowledge. So in conclusion, Supabase offers a modern backend solution with many powerful features. Its open source in nature and developer-friendly tools make it a solid choice for many projects. So if you're looking to build something quickly with a relational database foundation and an all-in-one backend platform, Supabase might be worth checking out. Very large-scale and highly specialized problems, you might want to weigh your options, or you could use Supabase with other services.